What's up, you guys? Stoopzz back here with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about some of the suggested theories when it comes to the Battle for Azeroth PvP Honor Talent system. Now, with every expansion, we always have the debate whether some of the changes that are going to be implemented by Blizzard are good or bad for the current state of the game. However, this is not my job. My job is simply to provide the information when it comes to some of the PvP changes that we're expecting to see in Battle for Azeroth. Now, at the end of this video, I will provide just my general feedback or my overall thoughts regarding this Honor Talent system, and I'm going to do my best to fill you guys in on all of the details. Now, with that being said, I have to do the usual boring statement that all of these suggested changes are subject to change. We are still in the Battle for Azeroth alpha phase, and the game will not be out for about 4 months or so. So I'm not here to do a ton of theory crafting. I'm just going to look at the suggested system, and I hope you all do the same. In Legion, you have 6 honor level brackets that you will unlock, and you can select 1 talent from each bracket, giving you a total of 6 talent selections. Now, this system is great and all because it allows you to kind of go through and make different combinations, have different choices, but a lot of the time, and what I found is that you run into situations where there's like only one viable option in that row, or that row itself is not really useful, or there's even situations where there's 2 options in one row that are really useful, but you're forced into picking just one. Now, for the Rep Paladin, and I don't really play a Rep Paladin, but from what I have seen and been talking to some of my friends, Blessing of Sanctuary is always your go-to because it's so valuable to the arena team. However, Vengeance Aura is also really good at boosting your damage quite a bit, but you're just forced into picking one selection. Now, the issue with this is it hurts class creativity. It hurts player innovation. Some players have unique play styles, but they're always forced into selecting these specific talent options or the same cookie cutter build. And while there is some variation depending on your class, some classes, especially for a lot of the healers that I've played, you're kind of stuck into a few talents. And as a healer, you probably have some of the more wide variety of talent selections because there are talents that are used for different comps that you're fighting. But as a DPS, sometimes you're literally picking the same talents always, every single match, and it might vary depending on like 1 or 2 talent options. And for BGs, you might have a unique spec, but you can't pick talents from the same bracket, and that's very frustrating because sometimes some of the options in the same bracket are really valuable. Now, although for Battle for Azeroth, they have not released the Honor Talent system, they have given some insight on what they're planning to do, and they've shown some models, and this was released almost at the end of February, beginning of March, and they have updated that since and given some more details. And I will put an image somewhere here on the screen, but what they're planning to do is to create a bin of talents where, again, don't focus so much more on the talents because those talents can be changed. So I wouldn't spend too much time worrying about like Vim and Vigor or just different talents that you use, like Hardiness if you're a melee DPS, but rather I would spend more time looking at the suggested plan that they have. But what their plan is to do is to create a method where you select any 4 talents rather than selecting them from a specific row. You can choose any 4 talents from that bin to create a combination that is unique to you or that you find to be most useful for that specific situation. And you'll also see here on the graph that they have this war mode option, and this was something that was discussed at these press events and at BlizzCon and all these different media events. War mode is that option that you will select that must be enabled prior to heading out into the open world. You can select this option and then you can now be attacked or engage in fights with other players. Now, they have discussed the benefits that you will receive from enabling this war mode feature. It's just like turning or toggling off PvP. Now, there will be additional benefits, like you might get bonus experience or bonus reputation, other things like that. But what you will also receive is when this mode is enabled, you can use your honor talents in PvE. So in open world PvP, your honor talents will be enabled. This is something that is not there in Legion, and I think this is a great benefit to having war mode enabled. Now, when you do engage in open world PvP in Legion, your honor talents turn on, but prior to that, you're not able to use your honor talents unless you're engaging in like one of those open world PvP world quest events. You can then use your honor talents, and some players will know that having your honor talents enabled in PvP will be a great use. If you're a Holy Paladin and you're leveling as a Holy Paladin, which I don't recommend, you can use like your melee wings, for example, to level up faster, or some of your abilities might help your leveling experience exponentially. And of course, they'll help you when you engage in PvP, but just killing mobs, some of the talent options might make you a little bit more tanky. They might allow you to stun more often. Some of these honor talent options are great for leveling, but you can't use them in Legion. So having war mode enabled will allow you, essentially, this is what they're talking about or discussing or suggesting, will enable you to use your honor talent while leveling up. And I think this is a great idea, as it is one benefit of enabling PvP, or this war mode feature that they keep talking about. But back to the point of the honor talent system itself, you only have 4 options, and although you can choose any of your honor talents, it's only 4, whereas before we had a previous 6. So although in Legion you have to kind of select one from each row, so you can't select all of the honor talents that you might like, or you're stuck with ones that you don't find necessarily useful, it's still 6 options. And although you have, like, technically, what is that, 6 to 18 options you can choose from to make a combination of 4, I still feel like it's still less, right? I still have less talents enabled. Although the options are higher, you still might be forced into choosing a cookie cutter build or a specific build. And again, I don't want all of you at home to focus in, like, go through your honor talents right now and be like, oh my gosh, like, I have to only choose 4. Well, does Trinket count as one? Does Vim and Vigor count as one? However, on that same point, I want all of you to kind of understand that don't spend too much time analyzing the current honor talent options or the current talent options, because a lot of this will be changed. For example, for Mistweavers, when I heard about this new honor talent system, I'm like, wow, that seems kind of overpowered. That means I can select, like, Gladiator's Medallion, Vim and Vigor, Ancient Mistweaver Arts, and Wave the Crane. Now, if you are familiar with the Mistweaver Monk, many of you are if you've been watching my channel for some time, Ancient Mistweaver Arts will not be an option in Battle for Azeroth. Soothing Mist being castable, or essentially Ancient Mistweaver Arts, will be baseline in Battle for Azeroth. So we are getting this talent option essentially baked into our class. So that's why I'm saying don't spend too much time analyzing the current honor talent options, but rather spend that time analyzing the system itself. I really do like what they're trying to do here. I like that they're giving us more options, and you can see on the screen here once again that you'll be able to just select from a bin and then create 4 talents. But if Trinket is one of your options, or if you still have to use Vim and Vigor, if it's still an option, which is for healers, if you're unfamiliar, it gives you like 20% bonus healing if you're above 80% health, or you have Defender of the Week. These are other options for healers. Melee DPS have something very similar to this. They have like hardiness or sparring. If those are options, it does feel really limited, and I'm hoping this isn't a way for Blizzard to kind of just overlook the whole notion of revamping the current system that they have, or changing some of the talents that are not desirable. I'm hoping they're not just saying, well, now you can pick any 4 that you like if you don't like the ones that we have. I want them, or I would hope that they would still look to revamp all the talent options that are not used. Like, go through the stats and say, hey, no one's selecting this talent, maybe we should look into it and make it more useful. Again, I love World of Warcraft, I love PvP, I make videos on it all the time. I just would like to see them keep the current system that we have. Like, I like our honor talent system. I like the fact that we're gonna have them all and not have to unlock them anymore. That's great news. I would just rather have them reorganize the brackets, put ones that are compelling, like really group them together, ones that make sense, like a row for mobility, which is what they kind of have sometimes, a row for, like, you know, CC, a row for whatever, and then the ones that are not useful, like, hey, Ret Paladins really struggle with Frost Mages. What can we do in this bracket to allow Ret Paladins to better deal with classes that can kite, classes that can slow and kite? What can we do to help them and make it so that it's worth selecting over the other talent? Let me give you an example. If you look at just the general talents, now again, these are just your general talents, they're not your honor talents, but this is a great example. You have Divine Intervention, which is the Holy Paladin auto bubble. This is a great talent because it allows Holy Paladins to really save their bubble to the very end. Sometimes you might bubble before you necessarily have to, just because you don't want to risk dying and not using your bubble. So Divine Intervention really helps with that, and it's great for Arena because the longer you can hold your bubble, the better you are off, and the longer you can survive the fight. It's just a great way to hold the defensive. But there's also an option for Divine Steed, or having Cavalier. It allows you to have 2 charges on your Divine Steed. Cavalier for a Ret Paladin would be great because they already struggle with mobility, so having 2 charges on your steed would be so useful, but it's not worth losing your auto bubble for this option. So I would have liked to have seen them say, hey, like, you know, no one's really using executioner sentence, or no one's really using this or that. So let's perhaps revamp the talent options, take away ones or bake in ones that are always picked, right? Talent options that are always selected, like people are always selecting this talent. Let's just bake it into the class and then add this talent option. I don't want to see pruning, right? Everyone's worried about pruning, and that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about pruning like everybody else. Although you can select any 4 options, it's still only 4 options, whereas before we had 6, and I would have liked to have seen them just bake in talent options that we use all the time, so we don't have to select between really 2 hard options, and then give us ones that feel rewarding to select. Like ones are like, okay, I can give up this for that. This is worth picking. And that is what I think Blizzard should look to do going into Battle for Azeroth. So yes, I like the new war mode system where we can use our honor talents in PvE. Yes, I like the idea of having the freedom of selecting any 4 talent options, but I feel like if it's only 4, there's gonna be an optimal build for almost every class that, like, it's not worth giving it up and you always have to pick it, and it might be the same scenario that they're trying to avoid. But that's gonna do it for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. If you have any more questions regarding this honor talent system, you can leave them in the comment section below. Do not forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.